From this chapter onwards, we are shifting gears. Up till now, we were talking about the philosophical aspect of unified meditation. From this point onwards, we'll be talking about the practical aspect of unified meditation. How do we actually go on practicing unified meditation? I am tempted to go directly to the point, like saying, close your eyes, think of this, think of that, breathe that way, breathe this way, feel there, feel here. But that would take me back to the conventional meditation techniques. Now, today, we can do better, and we don't need to wait decades to know the truth behind meditation techniques. In the earlier times, the masters would have had figured out what I'm going to teach you now over the years, but they would be stingy and they would not want to let go of the powers that the secrecy of their knowledge would command. What you are going to read in the coming pages isn't something out of the world or divine. It's something very logical that every expert meditator would have come to a conclusion to. However, in order to retain and attract followers, the motivation of the gurus was to fragment, cryptify, and distort the information I'm going to give you. Alternatively, it could also be that they did not have the knowledge and intellectual capacity to present the knowledge meditation in the way I have in this book. That would be a just reason, as opposed to withholding information in order to keep followers. You might have a question in your mind like, why am I then divulging this information for free? Many of you would be watching this video book for free. Many of you would be getting a free copy of my book. Many of you might be getting a pirated copy of my book. And some of you would be graceful enough to have paid for my book. My motivation is that, as I told you earlier in my personal experience about meditation, this is my last life, and I don't want to have to come back, so I'm just giving it all away. You can say it's like the pledge that Bill Gates did, whereby all the billionaires would pledge to give away all their wealth before they died. Many billionaires in the past gave away all their wealth before they died, and this is what path Bill Gates took also. Similarly, as I told you earlier, I am a spiritual billionaire, and I want to give all my spiritual wealth away before I die. I do not seek any followers, and if some teachers are born from this information that I give, then so be it. If they are genuine and truthful, they will receive guidance from me at the unconscious or subconscious level. If they are dishonest, well, the universal karmic system will do its job. So let me start with this chapter. In this book, I present meditation as a science. Now, this is an overused term, and everybody talks that their particular practice is scientific. I've even heard saying that education is a scientific education. Also, some politicians talk about scientific governance. You might as well say that a certain art is scientific. Some people talk about scientific business. Some even talk about scientific leadership. Even in my own seminars, I have been overusing the word scientific. So maybe when I talk about meditation as a science, I'm also overusing this term, and it has now become a cliche. But still, I'll try to convince you that unified meditation is a science. Before this book, Unified Meditation, people looked at meditation as a set of rules that had been passed on from earlier masters to their disciples, who again would pass on that teaching to the later generation. So this cascading of old information would go on for dozens, if not hundreds of generations. There would be little change in the process because it would have been dogmatic by then. So meditation now is a ritual or a religion. However, in this book, I want to propose certain theories that meet the scientific criteria with which people can meditate. The theories that I propose would help them understand their own meditation practice. Those theories should help them explain the various experiences that they get in the process of meditation, and they could make some predictions about the progress of their meditation. Like Einstein proposed a different concept about the universe and gravity as opposed to that of Newton. Unified meditation also proposes a different concept about meditation. To practice and test the theories of unified meditation, you do not need a master's degree or certainly not a PhD. Just read my books and the models, frameworks that I have expounded here. Try them out, test them, and if they work, then that's good. The theories now can become laws for you. If they don't work, then you'd have to go and look for a new theory until you find something that works for you. However, the theories and frameworks and models that I have developed here are the culmination of my years, decades, and lifetimes of investigation. So I believe that they will work for you too. In the earlier section, we have talked about the definition of meditation, and if you recall, I even provided you with a table, so I will not go back into that definition. Instead, I want to define meditation in a scientific way. It means that I will define it in such a way that you can test it and verify it by yourself. From now onwards, as I told you, this is not a philosophical discourse, but it is a practical discourse. You are going to learn meditation. So as you are reading and you feel that you just want to test out what I'm saying, you can just stop reading or stop listening and then try out what I just said. If not, you can complete the chapter and practice after the chapter is complete. So here goes the answer that I want you to test out. Meditation is the interaction of the ego or the I with the body, mind, and soul. You could live your day without ever noticing that I or ego. Similarly, you could be so engulfed in that ego or I that you'd not be aware of even your body, mind, or soul. This is because when we are awake, the senses cause us to have to focus on the physical world. Consequently, we can't exactly know much about what is happening with that I of ours. So most of the time, we feel like we are in a jam-packed train. Then we have no sensation when a pickpocket steals our purse. In this way, we are not aware of that I and of that body, of that mind, and certainly not of that soul. So, meditation is all about shutting down your five senses and forcing yourself to experience that ego I. We will discuss later the various meditation techniques, and all of them have that in common. That is, you have to find that I in order to begin the process of any meditation. At the beginning, it's a very difficult thing to do because we have never been used to looking for that ego or I after closing our eyes. What we do after closing our eyes is to doze off, sleep, get unconscious, and sometimes dream. But even in that dream state, we are out of control in terms of I or ego. We cannot tell our ego to do this or to not to do that in our dreams. In terms of meditation, it's quite similar. When you are fully meditating, then you will see and feel the waking state as another dream state where you are not able to control that I or ego as you would have controlled it when you are in meditation. I know it is a very deep thing that I have told you, but I also believe that you understood what I tried to say. Then, in meditation, only you can actually take control of your own I or ego. This is because even the waking state is not much different from the sleeping state from the point of view of the meditation state. This is what I just tried to explain. After you take control of your I, which as I told you is a very difficult process, then you will be able to explore your body, your mind, and your soul, as well as the intersection between all of those components. For now, it's all very complex and elusive, that I admit, but this is what I want to teach you how to do in this book, and that is the essence of the practice of unified meditation. Before I talk more about the body, mind, soul, and I want to talk about the two real worlds. Of course, the physical world is real for us. Nobody would deny that. However, even well-meaning people will not be able to accept that there is something as the spiritual world. What is it anyway? Is it what the scientists have been calling the fifth dimension? Has it something to do with the string theory that is trying to unify the astronomical world with the quantum world? Is the spiritual world the place where the ghosts dwell? Is it the backstage of the real world? It's so complicated and so vague that we prefer to ignore it. However, in unified theory of living and meditation, part 1 and part 2, I have made a strong assumption that the spiritual world is real and that it directly affects the real world. I have proposed many tests in part 1. The quickest way to test whether there is a spiritual world or not is to ask yourself why you are born in the circumstances that you are born. Why not in another circumstance? Why is it that if you do something bad, you feel bad? And why is it that when you do something good, even though it doesn't benefit you at the beginning, you feel rewarded later on? Why is it that you have a sense of direction inside of you which is very different from anyone else's? Well, these are all fingerprints of the spiritual world. However, the spiritual world is not limited to answering those questions only. In this book, we'll make the assumption that the spiritual world is real, and I will slowly unveil all the various aspects of the spiritual world so that you get a clear picture of what it means. Take a look at the diagram above and to your right. This is the representation of all the components that I have talked to you earlier. This is the fundamental block of unified meditation. In fact, this is why I have called it a science. You will see later on that I have put diagrams after diagrams to expound my theories of unified meditation. These diagrams are like the representation of the atom, or the electric fields, or the distribution of stress and forces. Many people tell me that I must have wasted my education as a mechanical engineer because I did not practice as an engineer later on. However, they are wrong, because I have used all my education as an engineer to understand, theorize, and explain things that nobody thought could be explained scientifically or technically. Oops, I did it again. I overused the word science. Anyways, let's continue with this diagram. First of all, you have to take a look at the pentagram called the physical world. This one is upside, and then on the downside there is the pentagram that represents the spiritual world. What this relationship is trying to say is that the physical world and the spiritual world are like the reflection of one another. I know you would have read that in various books, especially scriptures, that the spiritual world is the object and the physical world is the reflection or the shadow. However, there is more to this. There are many things that happen in the spiritual world that are unrelated to the physical world, and there are many things that happen in the spiritual world that are unrelated to the physical world. That said, what affects us, that is, the various karmas in our life, first happen in the spiritual world, and they are reflected as physical realities, which include mental events as well as emotional events in the physical world. So now you understand why they are positioned the way they are. That is the two pentagrams. Next, I would like you to take a look at the circle in the physical world. That represents the body. Yes, your hands, legs, eyes, head, nose, stomach, heart, liver, kidney, toes. Then you will notice that there is a rectangle passing through that circle. It is the mind. As you have discussed earlier in the 13 components, this one is about the feelings that go through us and the thoughts that go through us. It causes intelligence, learning, memory, and various skills that we possess, as well as desires, fears, dreams, etc. So it's a big collection of things, but we summarize it as simply mind. Then take a look at the third object, which is another circle inside the pentagram of the spiritual world. That is the soul. Now, what is the soul? If you have not experienced the soul, then it is very difficult for me to explain what is the soul. But if you have experienced the soul, then you will know that it's like the body, but it's inside the body, and also it can be outside the body, but mostly it's inside the body, in some part of the body. Those who are well versed in the art of meditation, in the science of meditation, then these people are able to do stuff with their soul, like others do stuff with their bodies and mind. So for now, I will just explain this much and talk more about it later on in this section. The next component is the free form made by the I. Now, this is the ego, or the awareness of who you are. So in this diagram, the I thinks that it is partly the body, partly the mind, and partly the soul, as well as partly the physical world, partly the spiritual world. We all feel a bit of everything in ourselves, and this is what I try to represent in this particular diagram. We not only feel, but we have some control over all of those components, that is the body, mind, soul, physical world, and even the spiritual world. It's just that we are not too much aware of the extent of that control. Next, you will notice that there is an intersection between the body and the mind, and the soul and the mind. However, I want you to notice that there is no intersection between the body and the soul. The reason is that the spiritual world cannot directly affect the physical world through us. If that was possible, then the angry ghosts would be able to kill their killers or torturers or oppressors. Then this would mean we would need a judicial system whereby we would have to put the ghost in jail. But this is not happening in our current world. So again, this is the proof that my theory that there is no direct connection between the soul and the body is true. Now, talking about the intersection of the body and mind, it means that what happens in the mind affects the body, and what happens in the body affects the mind. That's not a far-stretch idea. For example, whenever I'm highly stressed, I tend to develop skin rashes. Some people tend to develop ulcers. People develop various kinds of disease because of high level of stress, which make them prone to various bacteria and viruses because of their decreased immunity. Similarly, the pain in the body affects the mind. It can decrease our confidence. Alternatively, if we were obese and then we worked out and we developed a very fit body, then our mind would become more confident. In this way, there is a connection between the body and mind. Next, we have the intersection between the mind and the soul. Sometimes we feel bad without any physical reasons or any physical pain. It just like something inside of us ripened and we just feel bad. Because we do not practice some kind of unified meditation, we are not able to be aware of that particular soul. And as a result, we cannot pinpoint which part of the soul is affected and in which way. However, there is a problem in our soul, like there is a want or an unfulfilled desire, an incomplete karma in the soul. This affects our mind, our judgment, our decisions, and our feelings. For example, in our soul, we might be craving to meditate. Now, this is a call from the soul. As you learn from my meditation story, I had this call many times throughout my life. Because I was aware about my soul, I could see the problem in my soul like I would see an infected region in my body. I took up meditation and fulfilled the desire to meditate of my soul. In my story, there was no physical need for me to meditate, and there was nothing around in my physical world that inspired me, pushed me, or even gave me an idea that I should meditate. It was a pure calling from my soul. In this way, there is a connection between the soul and the mind. Alternatively, the mind also affects the soul. For example, if you develop very evil thoughts and do lots of bad things, then it will affect your soul. And then your soul will start reacting by making you feel bad, drained, depressed, pale. Something like self-sabotage is going to begin. So this is how the mind is affecting the soul. The opposite is also true, that if your mind becomes very pure and you are thinking about good things only, then your soul too will blossom into flowers, and good feelings are going to come, and there will be radiance in your face without reason, because your soul has been cleansed. So in this way, I have explained to you the diagram that represents the relationship between the various components that I have begun the chapter with. In the next subsection, I'll expound more on each of the components separately so that you are even more clear.